Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really powerful source of resilience that you can find within Christian theology, especially for those times, and we all have them, when life just feels completely overwhelming.
Okay, so let's just jump right in with a question that honestly, all of us face at some point. When the storms of life hit and everything just feels shaky and unstable, what anchors us? Where do we find a hope that's actually strong enough to hold on to?
And to answer that, the source material we're looking at today gives us this really powerful picture, a lighthouse in a storm. The whole idea is that having a solid belief about the future isn't just some kind of wishful thinking. No, it's meant to be a steady light that gives you real strength and real direction for the struggles you're facing today.
So this whole idea of a future hope, it actually brings us to a specific area of theology that, let's be real, can sound kind of intimidating and is often misunderstood. It's called eschatology. Now, I know it's a big word, but its purpose, as we're about to see, is actually surprisingly practical.
So what is it? Well, to put it simply, eschatology is the study of last things. This is the part of theology that gets into stuff like the final judgment and the book of Revelation. Topics that, let's be honest, can bring up some pretty intense and scary images. But what our source material makes so clear is that the real point of this doctrine isn't to make us afraid of the end. It's about building a hope for right now that is absolutely unshakable.
And this slide, wow, this really gets to the heart of it all. It puts two very different views side by side. Over on the left, you've got that common idea we just talked about. Scary predictions, super complicated charts, stuff that just creates a lot of anxiety. But the vision from our source over on the right completely flips that on its head. It reframes this whole topic as a source of hope for today, a practical resource to make you more resilient, and, this is the big one, a way to turn that fear into faith. Okay. So if the whole point is hope, then what's that hope built on? What's fueling it? Well, the foundation is a set of core promises. So let's take a look at what these guarantees about the future are that are supposed to give us so much strength for today.
These promises right here, they're absolutely foundational. And they're not just a random list of ideas, they're a single, cohesive vision that builds on itself. You have Christ's return, which finalizes his victory. That leads to the resurrection, bringing people into a new kind of life. And all of this leads to the full realization of God's kingdom and a completely renewed creation. See how they all connect? Together, they create this confident expectation, not just of getting away from something bad, but of entering into something that is eternally and unshakably good.
And that brings us to the question that is probably popping into your head right about now. It's a huge tension for anyone living this out. If the end of the story is this guaranteed victory, then why does this current chapter still have so much pain and brokenness? Well, theology has a really simple but powerful way of thinking about this.
This tension is explained through a framework called the already, not yet. So think about it like this. On D-Day in World War II, the victory was basically secured. The outcome was certain. That's the already. But the war wasn't over yet, right? The fighting still had to continue until VE Day. That's the not yet. In the same way, the idea is that Christ's victory is already secured, but we're not yet seeing all of its effects. The kingdom has already started, but suffering is still here. This framework is so important because it helps make sense of how you can live with real, genuine hope in a world that is still so clearly and often painfully broken.
Now, understanding that tension is one thing, but actually living in it, that's something else entirely. So the big question becomes, how does all this theology actually translate into real-world action? How does believing in a future promise change the way you live your life right here and right now?
And this is where the rubber really meets the road. A hope that's focused on the future isn't passive. It's not about just sitting around and waiting. It actively shapes who you are in the present. It brings a deep comfort during crises, it inspires the courage to face hard things without giving into despair, and it builds this incredible resilience by anchoring your life to something that circumstances just can't shake.
And what's cool is that the source material points out that this isn't just about you, on your own. It's actually designed to shape how entire communities support each other. So this looks like pastoral care that brings these promises right into the healing process, or preaching that constantly reminds people of this ultimate hope, or just everyday people encouraging each other with the truth that everything will one day be restored.
And you see this connection all over the place in the Bible. A classic example is Romans 8:18. It basically says that our present sufferings aren't even worth comparing to the glory that's coming. It draws a direct line from the reality of today to the promise of tomorrow.
So when you put it all together, the goal of this theology of hope is to totally transform our entire perspective on life. And this brings us right back where we started, full circle, to that powerful image of the lighthouse.
Let's be really clear about this. The storms of life, sickness, loss, global crises, all that uncertainty, they are real and they hurt. This way of thinking doesn't promise to magically make them all disappear. The lighthouse doesn't stop the storm. It doesn't calm the waves.
But here's what it does do, and this is everything. It provides a steady, unwavering light in the middle of it all. It's a guarantee that there is an ultimate destination of safety, of peace, and of complete restoration. It is the promise of a safe harbor at the end of the storm.
So it leaves us with this final thought to chew on. Maybe this whole field of eschatology, when we really get it, is less about trying to predict the end of the world and more about finding the strength, the courage, and the hope we need to endure until we get there.